You have all heard about Iron Man. Of course you have. He is the face of Marvel's cinematic universe after all. Now we all love him, but one of the unique aspects of him, besides Tony Stark being what he is, a genius, playboy, billionaire, philanthropist, one of the best scenes from the start of the MCU are the suit-up scenes of Iron Man. And most astonishing is the thing that every one of them is different, special in its own way. So stick around and enjoy as we show you all the Iron Man suit-ups in the MCU. Iron Man Mark I. At the start of our list, we have the very first movie from the MCU. And in that movie, we have the Mark I suit that Tony made himself in a cave under forced captivity by the organization called 10 Rings. And together with his sidekick at the time, Ho Jensen, they crafted the first suit from limited resources around him. And savage parts nonetheless, and the first suit up is not particularly flashy or anything, but it sets the blueprint for what is next to come. Tony is standing in the middle of the room, trying to assemble to suit onto it, while Ho helps him with the heavy lifting and putting it on him, strapping it, each piece of the armor as he goes. The neck collar, to the arms, legs, and finally the chest, with the helmet adding the cherry on top. Iron Man Mark II. Next, we had the successor of the Mark I, the Mark II suit, which was very different from the first, excluding all the bulky features, rocking the silver shiny looks, which wasn't used very much by Tony, as it had the icing problem. Here we have Tony walking with the legs from the suit, and the suit assembling itself onto him, piece by piece, from the feet all the way to the head. In his garage, in the middle of the dozens of cars that Tony owns, old and new. In the suit-up scene, we have the privilege to see all the screws and bolts screw in along the way. And we have the first look of the inside as Tony puts the front of his helm, the mask by hand, and shows us the interior of it, together with Jarvis speaking in the background. Iron Man Mark III. The Iron Man Mark III suit was the improved version from the Mark II, as it had most of the problems solved in the first from the latter. And this is the first suit that rocked the red and yellow combination of colors, which are so familiar to us this day. As Tony stands on his garage floor, filled with the parts from his suit, it starts opening up and assembling the suit for Tony right where he stands, from the feet to the legs, and the arms extended in the air. The mechanical arms suiting him up for the battle against Obadiah Stane. We also have Agent Rhodes in the background in awe, and how couldn't he be? It is awesome. Iron Man Mark number 5. Now you might not know this one by the name above, but this is the suitcase suit, as many call it, and is the first introduced suit on portability and with easy access that Tony desperately needs when he is surprised by Whiplash in the streets of Monaco. The suit starts to open as soon as Tony steps on it, and now there aren't any mechanical arms, but rather Tony extends his arms so that the suit can latch itself onto him. And for the Mark V, being the portable suit, also has the red and silver combination rather than the yellow color, and it is not used ever after that because it gets badly damaged in the battle, but we can happily say it did its job. Iron Man Mark VII. Next, we have the suit-up scene in the Battle of New York in the Avengers movie. We have the Mark VII suit that is equipped with one of the best flying abilities so far, and in this scene, the suit is called upon with the bracelets Tony has on his arms, coded to interact with the suit via scanner. When Tony needs the suit, it comes flying after him, after Loki throws him up his building. When in close range, the suit scans Tony's bracelets and quickly latches onto him, just in time before hitting the ground. And when the suit isn't used, it is stored in a form resembling a cylindrical pod. Iron Man Mark VIII. The Mark VIII suit is the one which Tony builds after the Battle of New York. and the one he uses in the battle against Aldrich Killian and his extremist soldiers. During the suit-up scene, we are shown the parts of the armor, piece by piece, fly into it, but a little bit too fast maybe, and we can see Tony wanting to slow the tempo, but it is too late, so he has to improvise. At the end, managing to assemble it with his wits and moves, and finally ending it with a backflip to catch the upside-down flying face mask as the last part. Later, we have also the same suit casually waiting outside the bar where Tony and Agent Rhodes are, and is the suit that wraps around him when Tony experiences his first serious anxiety attack, and is there to offer him protection and show him readings of his vitals. Iron Man Mark 8 again. It seems that Tony really loved this suit, as we have another scene of him suiting up in it when he is attacked by Cold Blood, one of Aldrich's right-hand men at his house. The suit is first used for Pepper's protection, and then Tony suits up in it, reassembling itself from Pepper's body onto his. It is a crucial moment in Tony's life. He gets shot at in the midst of the suit-up scene, and is one of the most chaotic ones, to be honest, but he manages to do it while his whole house is falling in the water. One of the most iconic movements in the movie. And later in the same movie, we have also the Mark 8, which is called upon by Tony to suit up in it when he is held captive at one of Aldrich's warehouses. In this scene, we see the suit coming piece by piece from the garage where he had to fix it after a failure, with last piece being his face mask after he gets past the soldiers and outside of the building. Iron Man, Iron Legion. Now in this next segment, we have somewhat of more than 15 suit-ups during Tony's battle with Aldrich Killian and his extremist soldiers' army on a ship where he tries to save Pepper from being held captive by Aldrich of all people. During the battle, we can see Tony and what he has been working on during his dark times and trying to occupy his time. The Iron Legion, an army of suits, ready to fight with him in them or without them. Under his command, waiting for his call. Throughout the scenes, we are obliged with Tony jumping from one suit to the other, changing them to the needs he has at the time. Truly a joy to be seen. Many suit-ups in such a short time. Iron Man Mark 44. And next on our list, we have the Hulkbuster, a suit stored on a satellite in a peculiar fashion called Veronica for some reason. And Tony calls upon it when he is encountered with Hulk, who got his mind tricked and goes on the rampage. When Tony can't stop him with the suit he has, he calls down Veronica. That holds the Hulkbuster, as Tony calls it, and wraps it around his own suit that uses in the fight, enhancing himself even further to try and stop Hulk from doing unnecessary damage to the city. And not to mention, but this one is quite bigger than the rest of the suits he owns, to be on the par with Hulk in size and strength. Iron Man Mark 46. The Mark 46 suit is the suit that Tony uses during encounters he has with Captain America, and this suit has the same type of assembling as the Mark 8, with many improvements along its way, of course. One of the scenes is when Tony assembles the suit during his fight with Steve, suit coming in pieces. And the other interesting scene involving this suit is the scene when Tony is in his helicopter, and with just a push of a button, he gets wrapped in his suit from all sides, readying him for the last battle with Steve Rogers at one of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s facilities. Iron Man Mark 50. This is the 50th armor that Tony made. That is how it got its name, and this is one of the most special suits in the MCU for Tony, as it is the first suit to utilize the nanotechnology, a more advanced suit than any other he had so far. One touch on the core from Tony is all it needs to spread itself across his skin and surround him and protect him from any danger when he is faced against Thanos and his allies. Along the way of assembling, we can clearly see the nanoparticles spreading at a fast rate from the core all the way to ends of his extremities. and it is also the fastest assembling suits from all previous models. And lastly, we have the Mark 85, which is the last nanotechnology suit that Tony suits up in during all of Avengers Endgame, which has one of the most powerful weapons at Tony's disposal, and also, together with Mark 50, is one of the two armors that regenerates itself after it is damaged by enemies' blows, ever wrapping nanoparticles latching on to Tony's body at any given moment. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Make sure to like, subscribe,